Hi, my name is Liz Simmons, a reference librarian at Genesee Community College. In this video, I will provide some guidelines and strategies to help you navigate web searching for credible information. While it's important to evaluate all your sources, it is especially important for internet resources. This is because in order to be published in books and journals, there is a review process in place to verify the credibility of an author and the quality of their work. This is not the case on the internet. There is often no one reviewing the information that is published on the web. Therefore, you are the reviewer of the material. You'll need to dig in and do some detective work. My first tip is to start your research at the library. We can help you because we provide access to many academic journals, ebooks, books, and newspapers, and we have librarians available in person and virtually to help locate what you need. This will allow you to become knowledgeable about your topic before venturing out to the World Wide Web. When you have a strong foundation of basic knowledge about your topic, you will better be able to identify strong sources and weaker ones. You will also be better equipped to create a strong thesis statement that will guide your research. Which brings me to my next big piece of advice. Get to know your topic before you start selecting internet sources. We can learn a lot about how to evaluate web sources by practicing the steps that fact checkers use. One of the first things to do is to ensure you are looking at the original source of information. For example, is it an article about a research study? Or is it syndicated reporting, meaning that it's a news story republished without any new reporting? In order to accurately verify a source, you need to get as close as possible to the original source. You'll need to track down that research study. Once you have located the original source, you can begin your investigation into our other evaluative criteria. Possibly the most important thing to ask is, who wrote this? What are their credentials? Are they an expert on the topic? And is there an author listed at all? If there's no name listed with the information, consider that a red flag. When deciding what sources to use, keep in mind that domain knowledge does matter. For example, if you are starting a research project about Native American history, it will be super helpful if you familiarize yourself with some of the most respected historians in that area, as well as the best museums and nonprofit organizations that work to keep that history alive. Another example, a physicist may be intelligent, but they are not the type of scientist you should be consulting for climate information. A crucial part of evaluating the author is learning more about the publishing organization. Are they a reputable organization? What is their mission? Looking into this information will help uncover the credibility of the author as well. You'll want to determine the purpose and compare it to the content to check for institutional bias. For example, a health claim made about milk by the American Dairy Association is not as credible as an independent testing laboratory. I would encourage you to read the About Us page on the website to learn more about the author and possibly the publisher, but also be sure to read laterally, like a fact checker, which means search the web to learn more about what others say about this organization. As you are investigating a potential web source, you may find it helpful to backtrack the URL. This means to remove sections of text after the / in order to get to the home page of the website. Because in some cases, you may not be able to access other parts of a website through a navigation menu or links, which would provide information, hopefully, about the author, organization, publisher, and what their purpose is. That's when backtracking the URL might come in handy. We've gone over reviewing the author and publishing organization, so now let's talk about evaluating the content of a web page. This can help answer questions that you should be asking about purpose, bias, currency, and accuracy. Also, as you are starting out with your research, you're going to want to consider your own bias. Think about whether or not you can review the information about this topic objectively in order to uncover the facts instead of only looking for the side of the story you want to hear. Bias exists in most information you will come across. It is your responsibility as a researcher to determine the amount of bias and if it has affected the accuracy of the information. Look for labels on news sites which will identify if an article is an editorial or opinion-based writing. As mentioned earlier, the purpose of a site can sometimes be found on other pages within their website, but also look for unstated hints toward their purpose, such as the type of advertising and links shared on the site. Some other indicators for strong bias are sensationalist language. If you see a headline or article making claims that appeal to your emotion without any evidence to back up their claim, you should be suspicious. Look for facts and strong reference lists instead. Another example is making assumptions about large groups of people. Ask yourself if both sides of an issue are represented, or are there important facts intentionally left out? The best way to determine this is to read multiple sources about an issue from different perspectives. This will serve as a compass in navigating information about your research topic. You can build your skills in this area by reading news from multiple perspectives on a regular basis. For example, on a website called allsides.org. There are some organizations that work to fact-check claims that are floating around on the internet. While this may not be as useful for scholarly evaluation and research, these are valuable resources that all web users should be aware of. To wrap up, let's review the main points we've covered. Number 1, become knowledgeable about your topic before selecting any web sources. You are looking for sources written by experts in the field and who present strong evidence. Use your analytical skills to determine the qualifications of the author and the quality of the content based on the criteria shared in this video and on our evaluation worksheet. You can find this worksheet in our Help and Tutorials page on our website. I hope that you find these tips helpful and don't hesitate to visit us for more help in person or virtually.